Ride series is another pretty popular for those wanting motorcycle racing gameplay experiences. Currently, the latest installment to hit the marketplace is Ride 4, which comes from Milestone SRL, a development studio known for delivering some pretty popular racing video games in the past. Ride 4 is a simulation motorcycle racing game where you're having to shift the body weight around to make turns. Ride 4 certainly has a bit of a learning curve to get through, but again, the Ride series has gained a following, so if you haven't given the games a chance in the past, then you'll find that Ride 4 will be readily available for players right now. After releasing in 2020, you'll find that this game will be supported for a good while. There has been DLC released to give players more content to enjoy, although this game already has quite the packed gameplay experience with a line of tracks and motorcycles. Much like the Ride series, you'll find that the developer Milestone SRL was responsible for the MotoGP 21. This is another simulation-style racing game where players are going through the 2021 MotoGP season as they partake in a variety of races. Again, being that this is a simulation game, you'll find that there is a ton of focus around keeping track of the different aspects of your motorcycle. Meanwhile, it's all about knowing the courses and ensuring that your motorcycle performance is capable of going through the races competitively. It might not be a game for everyone, especially if you're after a more arcade-like experience, but those that find this game enjoyable will find DLC to further add content into the game, or even previous installments like MotoGP 20 to go through previous season races. If you want to play more recent versions, you can play MotoGP 22. The Crew 2 is a pretty fun racing game in general from Ubisoft, and it's not necessarily all about motorcycle racing. Instead, Ubisoft made a game where they took the United States and shrunk it down for a full racing video game experience. As a result, players are racing through different terrains and reaching various iconic locations around the country. You can hit the heavily forested areas to a major city just by driving around. As mentioned, the game does feature more than just motorcycles, as players can quickly transform from a car to a plane, boat, or motorcycle. It's all about just experimenting with how you'd like to race around the area. While there are plenty of races you can partake in, a good portion of the game is just freely traveling around and seeing the different areas that pop up. This game did become available in 2018, so there's no word on if we'll see a successor, but in the meantime, you can still have quite a bit of fun in this game installment today. Grand Theft Auto 5 is not all about motorcycles or racing. This behemoth of a game released back in 2013 and continues to still find itself being just as relevant today all these years later. Rockstar Games outdid themselves when it came to developing the latest mainline Grand Theft Auto installment, and while there are now memes coming out about how long we've been stuck on this game, fans can still find it just as enjoyable today. There's a thrilling storyline based around 3 criminals working to live a life of crime and coming out clean, along with a massive open-world map for players to freely explore or create mayhem with. We also can't forget to mention that Rockstar Games brought out an online component as well, which was a money-making machine for the IP. At any rate, the reason we have this game on the list is the fact that you can ride around on motorcycles in this game world. There's a wide range of different motorcycles available both offline within the single-player campaign world along with the Grand Theft Auto Online experience. Meanwhile, players can partake in different makeshift races with friends online to actual racing events. plenty of MXGP 2021 players have noted that the controls feel miles better than previous installments in the series, and that's saying something. With new patches still being implemented, those wanting to lose themselves on legacy tracks in Italy, France, and Mexico need only snag this highly customizable title. Players can create custom tracks, customize their rider with over 100 brands, and duke it out with friends or strangers via online multiplayer. If realism is what you're after, look no further. The Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game series, has been around for a good little while, and we currently have the 4th mainline installment. This game comes from the development team Milestone SRL, which will be covering more games from this studio later on in the list. With that said, this is another simulation-style racing game that is based around the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship. You'll have a career mode where you'll attempt to make adjustments and tweaks to outrace the competition. There are a total of 11 stadiums and 17 tracks to race through. Likewise, you'll find over 100 different brands represented here, which again, you can customize your bike and attempt to take your rookie status into a professional racer. Now, the latest installment was just released in March of 2021, so there are bound to be some tweaks. With that said, there are previous installments readily available for players to pick up as well, which have been fairly well received. Road Rash was quite the iconic racing game back in the day. It was an arcade racer where players were barreling down the road on their motorcycle against the competition. However, what set this game apart from others was the fact that players were given weapons or the ability to punch and kick their competitors. This game series forced players into either defending themselves against the AI competitors or attempting to take them out as you strive to reach first place. Now, years later, we have a spiritual successor with Road Redemption. The game offered the same overall gameplay experience but made for the modern platform. After getting its campaign funded through Kickstarter, the developers were able to bring this game out back in 2017, where again you're racing down the road on your motorcycle. Meanwhile, you'll have the ability to use a wide range of weapons such as bats to guns. Just remember to avoid the police that will be looking to stop this race and end the madness. If you're a fan of actual motorcycle racing events, then you might already be well familiar with the TT Isle of Man. This is an actual event that has skilled racers from all over the world attending to take on the Snaefell Mountain, a course you can easily watch right now through countless YouTube videos. The course is also incredibly dangerous, and there have been more than a few accidents that happened here. With a ton of sharp turns, narrow roads, and it's just a pathway that racers have to keep incredibly cautious of as they race through it. TT Isle of Man was a popular game, but TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 2 amps up the gameplay experience. Again, this game features plenty of courses and bikes to race around with. You'll want to go through the different courses before you attempt those harder locations, much like Snaefell Mountain. All that said, this is one game well worth checking into if you have yet to do so. The MX vs. ATV series didn't see every game hit the PC platform, but one of the biggest hits that managed to release on the PC was MX vs. ATV Reflex. This game was released back in 2010 for PC and was generally well received. As the name suggests, the game is based around different motorbikes and ATVs with a ton of off-road racing. You'll have to make your way through rivers, swampy lands, and the sandy dunes. There is a good mix of different courses to race through, but during these races, you can attempt to pull off some freestyle tricks while in the air. You'll also give the ability to tweak your vehicle to use in the competition. Sony has quite a massive collection of exclusive video game titles that for years were only available through Sony's console platforms or their short run of handhelds. However, things started to change recently, and Sony began to open up their line of exclusives to the PC platform first by starting with Horizon Zero Dawn and most recently releasing Days Gone. This was a title that was first released in 2019 for the PlayStation 4, and it brought out a survival horror experience. In this game, we were thrown into a world going into a zombie apocalypse, with humanity breaking down into small little factions. It's here that we're tossed into the role of Deacon St. John, a former outlaw biker that lost his wife during the height of the apocalypse. Now acting as a drifter with his friend, Deacon spends most of his days doing the odd job for nearby faction locations to earn some goods. However, our protagonist is holding out hope to come across evidence to put together what happened to his wife all those years ago. Being a biker, players will mainly be traveling through this world on a motorcycle that you can upgrade as you progress through the game. Meanwhile, there is a real need for gasoline and ensuring that your bike is fueled up for the travel ahead. The Trials games blew up in popularity after just getting started as a Java game. After that initial release in 2000, the game IP has become a big multi-platform console release, with the latest installment being 2019's Trials Rising. This particular installment is the one we would recommend trying out if you haven't given this IP a chance in the past. Trials Rising is a racing game, but also a 2.5D physics platformer. Throughout the game, players are trying to maneuver their biker across multiple different courses. It's incredibly easy to cause your biker to tumble over, in which case you're transported back to a checkpoint. However, you'll soon get the hang of the physics and can get your biker through different obstacles, jumps along with the various terrains. Likewise, there are races you can participate in with multiplayer options as well. While Cyberpunk 2077 isn't exactly a motor racing game, there are plenty of motorcycles available in the game. There are models based on lightning-fast Yaiba models, long-haul Brennan cruisers, or real-life arches. Motorcycles may not be the fastest vehicles on the road, but they're still a solid choice for the budget-conscious or thrill-seeking gamer. Cyberpunk 2077 is a good alternative for those who are looking for a different game to roam freely in the open world.